language acquisition and identity. A Japanese example. What we will do now and for the next 2 or 3 modules is that we are using Hofstede's comparative dimensions of culture, and we are trying to use the example, see the comparison between Japanese culture and any Western culture, and we are trying to see how it plays out in a classroom setting. Now, when we talk about identity, the first question that might come to our mind is, what do we mean by identity? Now, identity is both, an ascribed identity, who you are, how you see yourself, and then there is an identity that you would like to expose or like to negotiate. You won't like to be seen as a specific person. And however, in your identity, in the building or constructing of your identity, your culture plays a strong role. How you see yourself, how do you feel things should be, what is right and wrong, all these form a part of your identity. When you are learning a second language, because a language is never neutral, it is embedded in a culture, you also learn different values, different ways of living, and then for most learners, there is also a shift towards the culture of that language, or at least an acceptance of the culture of that language. And sometimes there are changes that are traceable on the level of consciousness. That is, there might be things that you were not able to tolerate before. You might be ready to accept them more open-mindedly now. And sometimes people also feel that there is a change in the behavior of the second language learners. Not always there, but there is a possibility. In any case, what we need to keep in mind that the identity of the learner who has been raised in a specific way when learning a second language is definitely exposed to a different set of different set of living or thinking. In any case, when these identities also play out differently in classrooms. For instance, in Japanese culture, which is an example of an aspect of Asian culture, individuals are raised in a way that they show a preference for cooperation with each other. It is a collectivist culture in which individual achievement is foregone, and you are more interested in group achievement. So you're raised in a way that you appreciate more if the whole group is achieving rather than you alone are achieving. So what would that mean? That means that with the Japanese identity, you will be less competitive in your attitude and your behavior, and you will also be less assertive in communication. So in case we do not agree with anybody, we will just either hold back our opinion or be quiet or say them quietly and see how people react to it. So that is because information sharing is important. Yes, it is important in communication, but it is the building of human relationships that is more important. So I will pay more attention to the building of collaborativeness in the group rather than to information sharing. So that would mean that Japanese learners will sacrifice their own individual preference, their convenience to be a part of the group. Now, in Western culture, in stark contrast to it, the whole focus is on individuality. Individuals are important. competitiveness is important. So it's not the group that is important. So information exchange in a communication is important. Information presentation is important. So if you don't agree with anybody, you just say it, and you say it aloud, and you're not afraid of confrontation or challenging others' opinion, because human relationships take a back seat over here. So there is a problem that then the Japanese learners learning a second language in a Western culture might be misinterpreted as being passive, because of the identity that they bring to their classrooms.